Welcome to the Social Media Breakfast of Houston, where we are going to be talking today about content and how you can make your content shine online. I'm so excited to invite my guest today, Isaiah McSwain, and also Akil from Impact Hub Houston, which is where we're meeting. So those of you who are out there in the live stream audience, we are at a beautiful space here at Impact Hub Houston. And I want to invite Akil up here because Akil and Impact Hub Houston have become sponsors of the Social Media Breakfast. So we actually have an entire breakfast and coffee behind this wall here. So if you ever have the time to come up here, we'd love to have you. And they're going to be doing that from now on. So come on in, come on. So I want to welcome you. And could you come stand beside me so we're in the same shot? So let people know what's going on today. Let them know about your new sponsorship of Social Media Breakfast. And also there's a little thing called Intentionally Black that's happening today too, which, by the way, thanks for being here, those of you who came for that. So could you go ahead and get started with that?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone, and thank you all so much for being here. Again, my name is Akil Bernard. I wear a couple hats in this space. I'm the community manager for Impact Hub Houston, and I'm actually the co-founder of a company called Intentionally Black. So I'll be switching hats all day today. I'll be between Impact Hub Houston community manager and co-founder of Intentionally Black. So I'll start off with Impact Hub Houston and our sponsorship of Social Media Breakfast. Cami has been one of our longstanding members and has been the most consistent event that I've been a part of here at Impact Hub Houston. And we're so lucky to have her and all of y'all. She brings community together, and that's what Impact Hub represents. We love bringing the community together to have really thoughtful conversations, to move the needle on topics, social media being one of those. So we're happy to be sponsoring all of the breakfasts, coffee, making sure that you are caffeinated and that you have sustenance while you're here every month. So you can definitely expect to have a different spread. I like to get creative with it. So if there are some breakfast type items that you're interested in seeing, or you have a mom and pop vendor that you want us to feature, drop those to me and I'll be happy to put them into play. So yeah, switching focus to Intentionally Black. This was a passion project that we started last year for Black History Month. We did some programming, both Muriel Foster and I. Muriel Foster is the director of G-Beta and also co-founder of Intentionally Black. And we wanted to do some Black History Month programming. And we put something together pretty quickly last year and people loved it. We put together a pitch competition. We had a vendor market, we had some workshops, and people really loved what we were doing. So this year, we took last year, or all of last year, to actually create what this was going to be. And it's no longer a passion project. It is now a full-blown company that creates opportunity for entrepreneurs of color by entrepreneurs of color. It's one part consultation where you can actually consult with us on being more intentional in the way that you do business. And then the other part is all of the programming that we will put on, not just for Black History Month, but throughout the year. So we'll be doing things quarterly, and you will be hearing a lot from Intentionally Black, starting with today. So today, we actually have a full day of programming, partnership with Social Media Breakfast, which is where you're at. So thank you all for all being here. And then at 11, from 11 to 12:30, we will have a workshop on selling or being confident in your sales as a creative. And the person that will be facilitating that, her name is Joyce Johnson. She's also another Impact Hub member, and her company is called Y Sales Network. So if you are a creative and looking to up your scale, your selling and your scalability in the sales department, then that's a good workshop for you. And then we have a panel at from 1 to 2 on monetizing your creative genius. Our moderator will be the amazing Jennifer Tejada, who's also part of Social Media Breakfast. And we'll have an amazing panel of creatives in a few different people. Frederick Goodall of Mocha Man Style, he will be here. We'll also have Tiara LaRae Johnson, she'll be on the panel as well. And then we have one more, so it's Tiara. Gordon Taylor of Guzo. See, I have so many things going on, I kind of lost track. So we have a full suite of things today. So if you can hang around, pop into the different things. We have full co-working today as well. So we're opening up this space to all of y'all and people that are going to come to be part of the Downtown Launchpad, to be part of our creative takeover. of the Downtown Launchpad. So again, thank you all for being here, and thank you for the time.
And are you going to be meeting right here after this? Or where do you
Yes,
start?
the class, it's going to be in the classroom. So the workshop is going to be in the classroom, which is literally right around the corner.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. Could you guys give them a big hand? And thank you for the food and the coffee. Make sure you go and imbibe in that as you go. Don't worry about it. You won't be in the shot. You can just go around like this. That's why you're on the sides. So feel free to go get food as we go along. So before we get started, just one more thing that's really important, really important. I would like to ask Miss Rebecca Council to come up here for just 1 second. I know, I'm putting you way on the spot. Come on up. So I want to invite Rebecca up because Rebecca has been such a supporter of Social Media Breakfast over the years. And during the Gift of Guidance program, which was just held in December, some of you, I see you here, were at that event, where we help nonprofits with their social media during that time. I know, I'm wearing my heels, which makes me taller. So anyway, Rebecca was pivotal to that program, and she put hours of personal, volunteer hours into that program. And so I just wanted to thank her. So if you guys could give her a big hand, I have a little gift for her. So there you are. All right, yeah. So thank you so much for your help. All right, cool. Oh yeah, stop. Turn it around. Love you. All right, cool. So that being said, I am not going to take any more time and bring up Isaiah McSwain. Come on, buddy, let's talk.
Hello.
Welcome to the black chair.
This is important.
Yes,
Okay.
it is important. So I'm so excited to have Isaiah McSwain with us today. He has done a really great job of putting his personal brand and his professional brand together in such a way, yeah, you're welcome, in such a way that really makes him show up and shine. What is making oh, it's you. Yeah, okay, maybe, yeah, potentially. Hold still. Okay, so the mics do make noise. So anyway, we are going to talk today about really that. We're going to talk about how he takes that and he brings all of that creative together and content that goes around it. So storytelling is like a huge part of what we have to do in today's world, especially with AI being around. We need to stand out. And how do we do that? We have to tell a distinct story, right? And so Isaiah is great at that. He also is in the journalism side of things too. He works for a very well-known large, company. So he didn't put it in his bio, but you would know if I told you what it was. He works for a media company, huge one. And so he is working in the corporate world. You're working in the corporate world and, bringing his brand out. So I think that we can learn a lot from Isaiah and Jennifer Tejada, who's my partner in crime, and she's over there, Instagramming away. By the way, we have a new Instagram account. It's called SMBHOU. So anybody who is here, could you please pull out your phone? Also, if you're watching online, pull out your phone, go to SMBHOU, and please follow us so that we can keep in touch with you. Great. So that being said, hello, Isaiah.
Hey.
Make sure you talk loud.
Okay.
All right.
Hey.
Bring it up.
I want to make sure y'all can hear me.
Yeah, no, you don't have to hold it up. Just talk. So I really want to start with this idea of crafting an engaging narrative that is persuasive. So could you talk a little bit about how you approach creating content, either for a brand or for yourself, that brings that out so that people can kind of see, that they can see who you are. So could you just start talking just generally about kind of where you came about with this thinking?
Yeah. So first, I always like to tell people just align with your goals, right? So when you think about content, it's not just images and video, right? A lot of people, we kind of get caught up in like social content specifically, and we're like, oh my gosh, I want to make content that's compelling for my customers, or it just truly speaks me as a person in a digital space, right? But you have to align with your goals first, right? So when I started my brand about 3 to 4 years ago, one of my biggest problem or opportunity areas is what I learned to call it, was like storytelling, right? So like, how do I tell a story to get people to give me money, but also still remain authentic in that whole drive in itself? And so what I've come to learn is, again, like once I align with my goals, my story augments with those goals. So that's one of my biggest things, is just that once I'm realizing, let's say I want to get, and this is a bit service level, we're going to take it down a little notch, but let's say I want to make 50,000 in sales today, right? So what story is going to tell, or who am I even telling the story to first, right? So like, is it awareness? Is it a person that's in awareness, or is it a person that's in like brand advocacy? That 50,000 may get split differently. So the story in itself needs to surround around you, right? So if the brands want to meet somebody who's never heard of me, but there's also someone in the room who has heard of me, what is that story? How do I meet that middle ground? And so I've learned that, again, once I align with my goals, I'm understanding what my goal is. So like, I want to get 50K, cool. But now I know who I'm talking to. And so then I create a story around what they know about me or what they should be learning about me in that point or that stage. And then I'll just go from there.
So I want to actually like push into the stage discussion real quick, because you mentioned something that I just don't want to like gloss over, which is those stages of awareness that any customer goes through, right? Starting with awareness is what you talked about. Like they don't know you, they don't know who you are, where you came from, like why they should listen to you. When somebody's in that awareness stage, how do you, or what kinds of stories do you tell in that awareness stage to get people there?
Yeah. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm looking for my little towel.
Yeah, we need like a little napkin. Can somebody go get him one, please? Like a paper towel or a napkin or something. Thank you. So just so you know, this poor man was like had food poisoning this week. So he's here like at the tail end of a food poisoning situation. So thank you for coming anyway. I appreciate it.
I was telling people I'm at 90% today, and hopefully my 10% is tomorrow. So I'll be back at 100 tomorrow. So, but yeah, so let's talk about awareness, right?
Yes, I'd like to talk about awareness first. What do you do?
When we think about awareness, that's the beginning stages, right? So that's ground zero, if you will. They don't know you, they've never heard of you. Maybe they've heard about your industry or your service, and now they need to be enticed. So when we think about storytelling in the awareness stage, it's more so composed around the brand, the person, the mission, the vision, the impact, right? And so you want to tell that story in, I'll say four to five parts, right? So part one, what is the service? What do you do? Why do you do it? What is the impact? Why should you utilize me? What are you going to receive once utilizing me? Then part three, what's the vision? Where are we going with this? What do you see today that I can see tomorrow, and we can create this in the physical the third day? And then stage four, it's kind of hit or miss, but stage four, if they're still in awareness, because hopefully you told a really beautiful story at this point, stage four would be recapitalizing. And so what recapitalizing is essentially going back. So going back, telling that stage of, okay, this is me, this is the service I offer, this is the impact that I can give you, and this is the vision that I have for what you're asking of me, right? And so that's your awareness story.
That's interesting you say that, because you may have seen this on Instagram. It happens a lot where people come back and reintroduce themselves after a little bit of a time. Have you seen that before? Like maybe you've never seen me before or whatever. Is that kind of what you're talking about, or those kind of things where you come back and reintroduce yourself again?
So in a grander scheme, yeah, so it wouldn't even be like a reintroduction in a sense, right? Because now they're aware of you in a point, but now we have new people who are not aware of you, but that story still remains on your social. And this is just a social channel if we're only speaking about that channel specifically, because broadcast is different, trade shows are different, the channels vary, and the story kind of gets distorted per channel. But when you're thinking about social and you want that awareness story to stick, maybe it's in your bio. Maybe it's in some of the imagery that you consistently bring back. So I work for Hearst Media. I know that was kind of mentioned earlier.
I didn't know if I was allowed to say. So.
Oh, yeah. I just won't be able to speak about directly what we do every single day in office. But yeah, I work for Hearst. I'm the social media coordinator for the newspaper division. And so one thing that I've realized when you think about, again, awareness, social awareness, that could be housed in your bio, right? So let's say my goal is to create a more diverse brand, and I want individuals to know, like, my impact is bringing Asian, African, African American, German, Sweden, like people together. So what do you see on my page? You'll see diverse content. You'll see diverse faces. in everything that I do. But this is awareness. You never knew that about me. But just looking at my page on a one-off, you can see that I'm a diverse company. I have a diverse interest, right? So when you think about awareness, it's going to always flow with you because you are who you are. And yes, you'll change. So the story will augment over time. But some of these things can be housed in your everyday operations.
So give me an example of how you can do that in a way that's not just like, hey, I'm diverse, which is like terrible. I think that's probably, it's too direct, it's too direct, right? I don't know. Tell me what you think is the right way to do this.
Rephrase the question.
Like, how do you show that awareness? Like at that time, like, so what kinds of imagery are you looking for? You said different faces, different names. What about like for, if you're talking to, let's just say we had a small company and we were starting to try to build awareness around this small company. What would you do first to build that awareness? Like, what would you do to bring those stories out?
Yes. So what is the first thing I mentioned? It starts with a G. You want to align with your goals. Yes. So we all have goals. So when you're that small company and you configure what your goals are, let's just say we want a Q1 of 105. Cool. Small numbers, good day. So once we configure our goals, now we are aware of what we want to do. Who can get us to that goal? What's the track? What's the matriculation to actually achieve said goal? But we're in awareness. So nobody knows us. We just know us. We know we're like this really big juggernaut coming out. But how do we tell that story and actually capitalize on that story or captivate with said story? Your goals. You're going to simply align with your goals. Let's say person A is stuck in awareness and they come to company for service. Let's say you do restoration or something of the sort. That story in itself will be, again, the vision, the mission, the impact. Tell them that story in parts. And then again, for the smaller company, you just simply set it up and launch. So it's I'll say this, there's no direct way because everything will be subjective. That is good.
That's fair. And I think that's interesting that you say that too, because you're talking about a financial goal, like a hard goal. And I think sometimes people make very fuzzy goals. Like I want to change the world or something like that.
And you can. You definitely can.
But is that going to be the goal that you're using in this particular way of looking at things?
No. So there's a difference between like a personal brand and a brand. One has a bottom line, one just may be you, your story, right? So you may not, I don't know, it is tax season, guys, my CPA. But maybe you are only consistently worried about like your personal finances. So in your personal brand, you aim for like money driving factors. So that's a part of the things you do. I do service A, I do service B. It's a part of who I am. Or your brand. This is the service we offer. This is the product that we offer. Come to us for said, right? So that story changes with the brand or the goal of the brand. So like if I'm personal brands, again, I may not be truly worried about finances. So I don't set financial goals. I just tell a story about me, my life, I change, etc. But if I'm a brand, I have a financial goal. So I have to set financial goals and actually aim towards them with data. And we'll get into that later, but I think that would be it.
Right. And I think it's interesting you're talking about those financial goals because you're not going out to the marketplace and saying, I have this financial goal. I want to make $500,000 or 105, whatever. You're talking about your values and you're attracting people in that have the right income level in order to pay for the thing that gets you to that goal, right?
Yep.
Is that what you're saying? Just making sure I'm understanding.
Yes.
Great. So that's amazing. So that gives you something right there, which I don't think a lot of people talk about. They talk about goals, but they don't talk about this. Like, how do you deconstruct a financial goal and make it more fuzzy and put your values with that financial goal? That's interesting to me.
Who is the person that can actually help you reach the financial goal, right? Like,
oh, interesting. Yes.
Again, let's say that you're restoration or oil and gas, completely different. And then the rationality behind the conversion is completely different. Oil and gas, it could be consumer side. Let's say that I'm at a gas station. I need to fill up my car. I may not even really check your brand story. I'm mainly checking on price. But let's say I'm restoration. I need to be ensured that your company can actually come and restore my home or restore my business, et cetera, right? So you just have to be mindful of those two things.
Yeah, like what's driving the people that are trying to get you. So and having a story or you can have a price story.
Yeah.
If you're talking about that, they were the cheapest gas in town or whatever, right?
Don't tell
don't do that.
don't tell that story.
Okay.
The vision, the mission, and the impact.
So give me an example.
So one of the brands, because I know one of the questions about like brands, let's talk about Google, right? And they're actually going to be a really big part of this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So Google has a really good brand story, from their employees being Googlers to like them telling, like, I think I've seen on their Instagram, like a mother and a daughter and their journey and matriculation through Google. They do an amazing story of telling the impact of the brand, not just the vision. Like, we want to be the largest tech company in the world. They don't do that. They showcase how they are the largest tech company in the world. We employ people that go home and get their children to grow up and come be employed by said company. We we implement multiple products in the marketplace that help you and streamline your life processes and etc. So they tell their impact versus their mission. Their mission, of course, is to be a multi-billion-dollar company and the largest tech company, but they won't verbalize that, which is good. You don't want to verbalize that either, because that can detract people from you.
Mm-hmm. And I thank you for that's why I wanted to go in deeper, because I feel like we can kind of just get at the surface. I love that. So like threading it in your vision and showing that you are what you say you are. That's actually very interesting to me. So like show that you are what that goal is. So be that thing.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, the goal, I guess I want to focus on that some more. Like the goal is internalized. It doesn't leave the house, right? So it never leaves the office. Only the people in the boardroom know about it. But it helps guide everything that we do. It helps guide every person that we talk to. It helps guide every decision that we make. It is what's driving us, because it is our goal. It's what we want to get closer to. And without said goal, we're just aiming, right? I don't know what I want to do this year, so I'm just doing 1,000,001 things because, again, I don't know what I want to do. So keep that goal in-house, but make sure it's mindful to everybody.
Fantastic. So we've got your goals. Could you go through your process again one more time so that we can hear that one more time? So because it's a lot of, you don't have it written down, so I want to make sure that you hear it.
For the awareness?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So for awareness, it comes in a few stages. Just off the bat, you want to tell your mission statement, your vision statement, and your impact statement, right? And so within those three, again, align with your goals. So you want to make sure that everything you do, all communications, comms, align with said goals. Some of these will have financial hard goals attached to them, but in that sense, you want to hit the back end and think about the people that you can actually attract to achieve said goals.
I love that. So just so you know, we're going to stop in the room about 15 minutes before the hour, and I'm going to have you turn and do dyads with each other. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to tell us what the mission, vision, and impact that you're trying to make with your business is. So I wrote that down because that's why I asked you to say it again, because I think that that's really important that you walk away with here with something that you can actually put into place. And then you can also put, like, who do you think would do that? You can just sort of muse. You may not know yet. Like, you may have to think about that a little bit. But just so I'm telling you that now, so you can start writing it down on your paper, because you're gonna get together and talk about that. Those of you who are not here, I want you to write it down wherever you're at as well, and then put it in our comments section. That would be cool if we could have a bunch of people that tell us what their business is and what their mission, vision, and impact is that they want to make. I think that's amazing. Okay, that being said, I want to talk about authenticity, because you're very good at that. And also,
it's the easiest thing to do.
It is for you. Not everybody is really good at that. Just putting that out there. So we had a question here about keeping your brand voice authentic in an automated environment. Mm-hmm. Right now, you can make like what I call trash heaps of content. I mean, there's just so much content you can make right now, and content is amazing. But how do we keep this authentic and still use the tools, not be afraid of them, but still use the tools?
Yeah. So with the implementation of AI tools, everybody is thinking that their story can get distorted. But you are the practitioner of your story, right? So the tool is only a thought invoker. Use these tools to boost your process. Don't use these tools to create and produce the process. So when you're creating content, I know everybody uses ChatGPT at this very moment. I don't know if you all do, but
of course
we don't use it at Hearst, PSA. We actually have a proprietary model that they built. But
so you do have one.
Yeah, we do have one. It's just
internal.
for Hearst. It's just for Hearst. But nonetheless, you are the practitioner of the story, of the tool, you can control the narrative. So if you want to remain authentic, simply remain authentic. Remember your goals, remember what stories you want to tell, your impact, your mission, your vision, and use the tool to amplify that process, to amplify those content ideas and et cetera, and then create and produce.
Do you think like, because yesterday, I'm just going to tell you, I was playing around with ChatGPT, and one of the things I tried was like, hey, give me 3, problems somebody has, fears somebody has, and goals or, missions in the specific audience, and put it into a table for me so that I can read it through. And it gave me like, I don't know, 20, 30 ideas, just whoop. And I was like, okay. So now what I would do is I would print that off and I would look at that and I would think about, do I have any stories that match up with these problems, fears, emissions, right? So storytelling becomes, I think, really the authentic part of this. What do you think?
I agree completely.
So how are you doing that? How are you bringing your story to bear with these kinds of things? Or are you?
I wouldn't say that I am. It's kind of who I am.
Yeah, you just do that automatically.
It's embodied. So I want to say, again, the difference between a personal brand and a brand, right? So your personal brand, that's you. Maybe you're not using ChatGPT too much to tell your own story. You kind of know it like the back of your hand. But your brand story, again, you have an impact that you're going to make. You have a vision that you have, and you're on a mission right now. So this tool, don't allow it, or like you just said, like align those stories together. So like, don't utilize a tool and create a reel about 10 different tactics to utilize on Monday. Okay, that seems pretty cool, but does it align with my business goals? I didn't want to make any more awareness content this month because we've already reached that part. We're right now making upsells. So now I'm thinking about content to get upsells, right? So again, align with your goals.
Very good. And that I did something yesterday too. Why I was doing all this ChatGPT stuff is because I've put down my events for the year and I have a specific goal for each of these events, right? So like, how do we get the people to that event? And so I know what we're going to be covering. So how do you get them to the point where like, I need that thing that you're going to be offering there at that point in time. So, pre-awareness, like sort of like, getting them to understand like, what is next? Like what do you need to know? And then they say, well, what's next? What's next? What's next? And then, oh, poof, there's that event that actually answers that question. That's what's next. So that's one way that we're thinking about doing it.
So yeah, and it definitely spans on like a omni-channel strategy almost. So like that one social placement may be a catalyst to like 2 ad placements, 1 linear broadcast placement, and like 3 email funnels, right? So you want to remember that it won't be just a one-off touch point. It's going to be about 7 touch points. So if you want to entice your audience, again, know who your audience is, show up where they are, you utilize your data to find that out. And then once you're actually in a place that they are in and the content that you can create will perform in said place, produce it and tell your story, but be authentic in your story, right? So again, and I've said this like 1,000,001 times, so hope
That's
y'all got
okay.
it.
No, that's why we're doing it. So we remember it, right? So
Which is what? We want to align with our what?
Goals.
Okay. It's my favorite thing to talk about at work is a goal. But you definitely want to align with those goals. So yeah, I mean, it's more than one touch point. So if you want to entice your audience, again, it'll be more of an omni-channel strategy. And if you don't know what that is, it's just a strategy that focuses on experience, right? So it can be digital or physical, but the derive is experience.
Well, and we talked here about paid, earned, and owned media, which is kind of part of that omni channel. And by the way, one of the things we're doing at Social Media Breakfast is that we are social, meaning you're here to socialize with each other. We're talking about media, which is not just social media. It's also the ecosystem around the brand that you need to get from like point A to point B, including the emails, the funnels, all the things, the ads, whatever goes with it. And then breakfast, which is behind this wall. And thank you, Impact Hub, for making that possible. So, that's really our vision for Social Media Breakfast, social media breakfast, right? So that's all of the things that we do. So agreed that it's not just one thing. So can we kind of bring that in and talk about, the how you manage that own, paid, and earned media elements? And we talked about this whole, there's another little piece of it that I want to ask in a minute, but let's start with that.
Okay, yeah. So are you all familiar with what paid, owned, and earned content is? Just a raise of hands.
Yes.
Raise hands. Okay, so we know. Paid, as you all know, is content that you pay for. Earned, maybe a news outlet or a magazine publisher noticed you, they like the work that you're doing, you earned that piece of content. It could be good or bad, so I want to say that too, because I have a bad one for the restaurant I went to. But yeah, so when you want to put those three into play with your current strategy, right? So you've already paid for some and you own some. So hopefully you know what you're going to do with those, especially the ones you pay for, because I don't have money to waste unless you have money to waste. Give me $1. But if you don't, we definitely have to find out what we're going to do with said paid content, right? So our biggest thing, align with your goals. Like you want to align that with your goals. So let's say that we pay for content that's a 30-second reel, right? Can we use this linear? Which linear is just like on your TV, like any commercial that'll be a linear broadcast. Can we align with that, right? Let's say we can. So we take that content, it helps us with our we're past pre-consideration, we're at advocacy. So they're advocates of our brands. We'll just place that, maybe that hits at like Q3, right? So we align it yearly. Let's say that we do 5 sets of social content, right? Those are owned. We own those, we made those, we own them. We can align those with our content schedule. We know by Q2, we want to have, and this could be like followers, we want to have 500 more followers, right? So we produce enough content that could at least reach about 1,000 to 2,000 people a month and hopefully convert 10 to 15 people per week into followers, right? But let's say we earn some content and it's bad, because nobody really prepares for what is bad. We kind of always prepare for what's good. Let's say that we just got a review. We're a restaurant. I'm going to speak from my personal experience. We're a restaurant, and now a client just came in and they had a really bad experience, and now they're sick. Right. And now they're sick. And how do you pivot that? Right? Because now I'm going to sue you. Oh my gosh, you made me so sick. How do you take that and pivot it? We started our brand in 2008, and we've only sourced food from X, Y, and Z country. And now we're at a place where this customer comes in and they're like fighting for their life and they only order a plate of food. Okay, cool. So now what you have to do is think about experience. I talked about omni-channel experience a little bit here and there, but now you're focused on that experience. How do you pivot that bad experience? Because you've already earned this content. The review is there. They're on their social media, is like letting it out. It's flying. People now know about this very bad experience. Take that. Do not shy away. Do not run. Take that experience. First, I don't know, offer them a refund. Maybe pay a hospital bill. That can get pretty serious. But you simply want to take ownership, right? So if you earned it, you now own it, right?
Interesting.
So pivot that.
Yeah. It's a great way to put that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and when you do that, that actually can make a huge difference. One of the earliest things in my career, I just as a direct thing, is that there was a guy named Rob Legess. Hi, Rob. And he was pretty well known. I didn't know him at all, but he made a huge blog post about how a certain media company sucked. Usually a cable company. You know how those go, because everything goes down. And so he had this blog post that said, sucks. And it was, I was working for them at the time, moderating their moderating the online conversation around them. So I went to his blog and I went to his contact information, and it had his phone number. And so I said, hey, can I call this guy? They're like, sure. So I called him up and I said, hey, can we help you out? I have a VIP team. I can get them out there. I said, I don't know if we can fix your problem, but we'd like to try. And he said, sure. And so they all came out, they fixed this problem, and it was complex, but they fixed it. By the way, he was on the team that helped create Wi-Fi. Like everybody knows him. Okay, so thank you, Rob, for the Wi-Fi in this room. Anyway, the point is that, we have been friends ever since. And we totally changed that around. And he talked about how great they were and their customer service was great. But exactly what you said, like owning the problem. If you earn it, own it. Yep. I love that so much. So
I mean, because you can't, I think, again, like a lot of people never prepare for what's bad. And in business, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
We can't avoid it, right?
So
I don't know when you're going to get sued, but hopefully you have an attorney because it might happen, right?
Yeah.
But these are, it's not, that's more like away from content, but just specifically know, like, prepare for those things, prepare for those moments. Even in your storytelling, have a pivotal story, right? Be able to still speak to the benefits of your brand, the benefits of working with your services, etc. Even when somebody does not like it or has not enjoyed their experience with your brand, because you'll still earn it.
Communication insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. So we do have a few minutes here to get questions. So does anybody have some questions for Isaiah? Yeah.
So I have a question. So goal, always align with the goal.
Please.
Hold on a second. We're going to give you a microphone. Yeah.
So always, always align with your goals.
Mhm.
Got it. But do you have a counterexample so we could, because duh, of course we're going to always align with our goals. Can you give us a counterexample of where you something happened and it didn't work out because it wasn't aligned with the goals, that you're like, oh yeah, they went out and did this campaign and yeah, it failed because their goal was actually this, but their campaign focused on that and that wasn't their goal. I don't know, maybe you don't have such an example, but it just seems like so obvious. Yeah, of course we're going to align with our goals, but yeah, seeing a case where actually it wasn't, that could make us go, okay, now I really see what he means about, trying to align really with the goals, and where a campaign failed because it didn't align.
Yes. So I don't have a specific example where somebody did not align their campaign with a goal, or they tried to attempt to align with a goal but failed at the goal. I will say, a good example.
Can I pop in real quick?
Yes.
And I'm going to loop it back around with a question.
Yes. Go
So
for
I
it.
have a perfect example of this. This just happened last quarter for me at work, where the organization decided that they wanted to run a campaign that was like a gift card campaign. But our goal was actually to raise awareness around CFOs. Why do CFOs need a gift card?
True.
No.
So that
True.
that is the thing that popped into mind. So companies do this all the time. Somebody somewhere in the organization decides, I really want to try this. And the marketing team may be like, this is dumb. This is not aligned with our goals. This is not
Yeah.
what we're trying to do.
It
They're like,
does
well, try it
happen.
anyway. So that happens. But I really wanted to loop that back around with a question about goals. I think everybody thinks they know how to set goals for their organization. When you think about like setting a goal, do you do it yearly? Do you do it quarterly? Do you do it monthly? Like, how do you think about that as you're starting to try to set goals for your campaigns?
Yeah, it's a great one.
Yeah, I would say, so it depends on your business operations first, in your industry. Maybe your operation time is very fast, so you have to check every quarter or every week, like we have a new goal every single week, or we have a new goal every quarter. I would say just generalized, try to check back every quarter, because in 3 months, a lot can change. Honestly, in a day, a lot can change. But if you're a smaller brand, try to stick to your quarter goals, because a lot of us, we aim for the yearly, which is great. Now we know how our year is going to go. But let's say Q2 was amazing. So let's scale. We're at a scaling place. But if you didn't check quarterly goals, you wouldn't know that you could scale right now. You just know that, okay, I hit a point. By the end of the year, all of my points have been hit. I look back, Q3, oh wait, I could have scaled in that moment. So again, yeah, just if you're a smaller brand, I would say quarterly. A larger brand, definitely quarterly, and also annuals.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good. Any other questions? Yes. We'll run over the mic to you so that they can hear you online. Woo.
Okay, so smaller brand, startup, no resources, really kind of like Akil mentioned, starting off as a passion project, but really inspired by something, a specific niche, and then you're putting content out there, not even knowing what you're doing because you're not even real into social media like that, but you're putting content out there, have a really good inspired idea, have really done all the groundwork to start the business, but not really operating as a business. And then someone else comes along, sees your content, takes it, and they start the business. And now they're, basically duplicating what you are
did.
doing. Right. So
Oh,
what would be your, I guess, recommendation on how to continue on, with what you were just speaking on in terms of your goals and moving forward? But literally, we talking names, everything like was just duplicated. So it's kind of like, how do you pivot from that?
That's a hard one because I hate that happened. But I think I want to say this: nobody can do you how you can do you. So that's number one. Even if they take every single word from word, right? They won't be able to make that service how you can make that service. They can't provide the product how you provide the product. But in terms of pivoting for social content specifically, produce, produce. I don't know if you've noticed, like on TikTok, a lot of smaller creators, their content gets picked up by larger creators
absolutely.
and mimicked. And so then they're left in a limbo of like, I need credit for what I did. I need credit for what I did. And sadly, we don't have any like laws or rules and regulations currently from the FTC about like mimicking content, et cetera. So I don't only say just continue, right? And again, like they cannot do you how you can do you. So your brand is your brand. Now, unless they have every single vendor you have and your employees are two-time employed, that's another conversation. But, just be you, be authentic, and you'll stand out.
yeah. Keep going. I'm sorry you had to do that. It's rough.
It is.
Okay, so I've got no problem being on video or behind a mic, but people that I work with and colleagues, so on and so forth, in a world where video is going to be more important by the nanosecond, people that are not on board with doing that, how can you convince them to, I guess, jump on board maybe, or maybe convince them that, okay, don't be scared of video. You don't necessarily have to be on camera. How about faceless? Oh, well, I don't want to be on mic. So what would be a tactical way of convincing people?
Well, yeah, that could definitely be an option.
Yeah, that's possible now.
I would say, for one, you can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do, right? So they are just not friendly with the camera or the mic, then it's like, okay. But right, it would definitely be very inauthentic because they'll be reading from a script.
And they'll look really nervous. And
Yeah.
I tried to do it. It doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
I would say if you can find like a
done
person
that.
in the organization that wants to make content, work solely with them. I can say this. So at Cron, Houston Chronicle and Cron, we actually have a person that does content. Like she does the reels and et cetera. And now she's starting to delegate off people to actually do that. So the goal was for them to actually make more reels and et cetera, but they didn't have anybody. I want to say they didn't have anybody to make those reels directly. And so they employed her. She did amazing, clearly, not biased, but she did amazing. I had nothing to do with that PSA, that's all her. And now she's able to delegate other individuals into her flow, into her style, kind of teaching them, hey, well, you may not be too comfortable with this, but just say it like this, or read it like this, or act as if you're talking to somebody like this, et cetera, et cetera. So, find ways to make people comfortable. And if not, find a person who is comfortable.
Like yourself. I mean, maybe you become the face.
Yep. You can be the
It's
face
like,
of the brand.
I would just say, that's something that we don't do enough of is like our employees can be the face of the brand. I think it's definitely true. Is there
Yeah.
somebody back there? I saw a hand. I think, oh, hey, hi.
Okay, so how often should you be consistent with your content? So I handle my clients' social media, and I felt some type of way because their social media is growing and mine is decreasing, my followers, my subscribers. And it was kind of annoying because I'm like, well, I'm putting your social, I mean, that's part of what I do. So it's neither here nor there. I'm excited that they're growing, but at the same time, my numbers are diminishing because I'm not going to say I don't have the time. I have so much content in my phone. How can I be consistent? Because when I'm consistent, the numbers go up. But when I'm not, and I feel like I miss out on opportunities as well. Just a little plug, I'm not bragging, but I was on the cover of the Houston Defender for a whole story. I didn't really utilize that. I'm on Isaiah Carey.
It's not too late.
Well, I feel like it is because it was 2 weeks ago.
It doesn't. That's never too late. We'll talk to you about that. But no, that's never too late. You use the whole purpose of getting on the cover of these magazines and doing these things is so that you can talk about them over and over and over and over again, as seen on. Have you seen that
Okay.
everywhere? Yeah.
No, I
So we'll
didn't.
talk more
Okay.
about that.
And the other thing is, I'm also a commentator on Isaiah because he asked for my opinion, PR perspective on things as well. And I feel like I miss opportunities because I never post about it. So
Yeah.
that's an issue that I have. So how can I be consistent with things that I do? And with that, I'm glad you said that about putting your professional and personal life together, because I felt like I couldn't mix the two. So right now I have 4 Instagram accounts. I know that's insane. And I need to just have one because it's challenging to post to all 4, which is ridiculous.
It is.
Yeah. In terms of being consistent, so like if your capacity is there, you stated that you already have the content. If you can find a scheduler, like schedule out content, consistency is not every day. Also, I want to make that very clear. When it comes to social content, like there's a ton of noise. There's a ton of noise. So if you can engage with an audience and then find your audience, you'll learn your heat map. So if you go through your analytics, it'll kind of tell you like the times of the day. It used to be a bit more advanced to tell you like the cities, the places, states, etc. So look at that data, take that data. If it looks like 8 a.m. Houston, Texas, you getting like 1,000 people on your platform. Okay, well, those 8 a.m.s, you need to be posting that content that you want more traction behind, right? But if you get less people at like 2 p.m., then it's like a lower pool of content. And that's not even saying that you have to post more than once a day. Like on my Instagram, I post on my story all the time.
Yeah. And I see it. It pops up in my stuff all the time because we're connected. You just have to like do that. And then also like you're here today.
Yeah.
Make a piece of content real quick.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be
Yep.
major. Like
Yep.
a picture with somebody and tag them. Meet somebody today. By the way, we're about to do that. So sure, one thing. Go.
So one of the things that I do whenever I'm posting stuff for my own account is I treat myself like I'm my client. I schedule time, I sit down, I
That's right.
block it out. It's my time for my content. Like if I had a meeting with a client, I wouldn't break it. I don't break it with myself.
Yes,
and
treat your
so
business like a client.
Just 35 minutes
Great job.
can give you
Rebecca.
a world of time that you can schedule your own stuff. And so even if you don't have a paid scheduler, you can schedule within Facebook's business account for Facebook and for Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's free. So that being said, we're kind of at the end. So that was the last question. We're going to stay in the room because we're going to do something here in the room together. We're going to talk about our mission, our vision, and our impact before we leave. So I wanted to say goodbye to those of you who are out there on live stream. Thank you so much for being here today. One of the things I wanted to also say is that my book, this is going to be a gift for you. Hopefully you're okay with that. That this is my book, The Most Amazing Marketing Book Ever. And I need to take out some of these things, but Most Amazing Marketing Book Ever. And this, we just found out it's being translated in Taiwan, Arabic, Korean, Chinese, and Vietnamese. 5. So I'm really excited about that. So anyway, yeah, that's cool. All right, thank you very much, guys. And we are going to do something real quick. Wait, Miss Jen has something to say. So as they're coming up, what I want you guys to do is around you, when we are done, we're going to break down into like groups of 2, just dyads. I want you to talk about your mission, your vision, and your impact of your company. So hopefully you've been writing that down. Yes.
Right, well, I just want to
Come on
come
up.
up and
Come right here.
introduce
Yes.
Holland.
Yes. Holland.
So next month,
Oh yes. Let's do that.
Holland will and her pod co-host. That's the right word.
And they're really cool.
Will be speaking next week. Holland
month.
and Vanessa run a podcast called Ask Your Work Wife, and I just wanted her to have 2 seconds to introduce herself. So we hope you'll come back next month.
Yes, and there's a date there for that. So the date on this is going to be March 8th, and it's going to be Build Your Brand, blending your personal and professional
That's right. That's right. So
identities. So we're going to be talking more about this.
we really resonate with this idea that like it's hard to get people in front of a camera. I'm one of those people. So here we are. But yeah, we're super excited. March 8th is International Women's Day.
It is.
Ask Your Wife is all about helping ambitious women get more out of corporate America. And that means, representing yourself, representing maybe your company too. So it's a hard line to walk, but we're excited to come back and talk about that a little bit.
Awesome. Thank you. And they have such a great podcast. So look it up on your pod, Ask Your Work Wife. So awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
These are my AMA friends. They're really cool people.
Awesome. So we'll be back here in the same space next month. So those of you who are watching online, we'll be back on your social media of choice. We stream on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Well, not Instagram, sorry. I have learned how to do that though, by the way. I can bring that in. We may do that. It's complicated. So anyway, we do that. And YouTube, sorry, that's what I meant. So please let us know where you're watching and we will come out and say hi to you. And thank you so much for being here. Talk to you soon.